Netflix releasing never-before-seen video of Sean Diddy Combs filmed just days before his arrest on charges of sex trafficking and racketeering in 2024. The footage is part of a 4-part docuseries, Sean Combs: The Reckoning, premiering Tuesday.
How did you get that footage of Diddy?
I figured most journalists would not disclose their sources.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
So when this airs, that'll be the first time that his legal team, Diddy, that everybody knows that this footage is now seeing the light of day. Perhaps.
Combs' team firing back in a statement to NBC News, saying the Netflix so-called documentary is a shameful hit piece and that they relied on stolen footage that was never authorized for release. His team sending a cease and desist to Netflix.
Indeed, man. I mean, had to bring you back, man. This documentary got everybody talking and people going at it. So, it was only right to bring you back and get your point of view, man. But I want to get right into it, man. 50 and Ja. How you feel about both of them going at it? You seen it?
I couldn't do nothing but see it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because 50, tried to smash him with one of the stories that we told on Art of Dialogue before. But what people don't realize is that the story that they put out there is like that having to have some money to keep Big and Craig Mack around before he got to Clyde Davis. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't able to tell that story because they didn't have no intel on that story or what went down, or they didn't do their investigations right, which he also led up to the reason why Wolf ain't here today. You understand? They didn't tell that story. They didn't tell a story about Jessica Rosenbaum, who was at the City College situation. You understand? When it was Puff, Heavy D, and Jessica. And that was the Valley Mob. That's the only way. Wolf ended up losing his life behind Puff and his bullshit. And people they didn't even put that in the documentary. Wolf ended up losing it.
Taken together, Bill Maher and Stephen A. Smith's criticism points to the same major concern about where the Democratic National Committee is heading. Even though they come from different worlds and speak to different audiences, both say many voters want clearer messages, real solutions, and leaders who sound honest instead of overly planned. In their view, frustration grows when political messaging feels stiff, too staged, or more focused on attacking others than offering a strong plan for the future. They also note that public figures, like Donald Trump, often gain support because they come across as firm and direct, which some voters respect, even when they disagree with certain policies. Their bigger point is that no political party should take voter loyalty for granted. According to Maher and Smith, rebuilding trust means listening to critics, welcoming open debate, and speaking about everyday problems with honesty and clarity. In a changing political climate, they believe ignoring these warning signs could make it much harder for any party to keep long-term support.
This documentary got everyone talking, man. A lot of people want to know why you wasn't in it, man.
Well, first and foremost, I thought I was going to be in the documentary at first until I started talking to that director. I think her name is Stapleton, I don't know her name. I don't know, man. Me and 50 talked like 45 minutes. The producers had been calling me and everything. So this one night, 50 called me up and, they got him on the phone, man. He was just talking. We was talking about old times. Sit down with Black Hands, sit down with, with Puff Kids, the whole Puff situation, and this documentary that he's going to be doing. You know what I'm saying? So I told him that I was going to, have Kirk and Tim. Kirk will be the one who talk about the business part of it. Tim will be the one who talk about the growing up phase with Diddy and everything, and over there working in the record industry with him and stuff like that. They was like family. And I was going to talk about, the street stuff, what was going on with Bad Boy, with the security, with Wolf, with the City College, with the time that I knew about when I was with him up until about early 2004 or something like that. But basically the streets and then the traveling with him and the atmosphere and everything, and then go back into the Notorious Big stuff with the Tupac and the whole 9 yards, all the stuff that I knew. You know what I'm saying? So we was talking and he sounded like, yo, listen here, they gonna spare no expense with this whole documentary. So I said, all right, cool. So what I did was I spoke to Tim and I spoke to Kirk Burrows. And I was like, yo, because I had Tim's number. Tim didn't know how to get in touch with Kirk. Kirk didn't know how to get in touch with Tim. But Kirk was trying to tell me, give him the number with the Tim. I said, nah, I ain't doing that. So I gave one of the producers the number in the whole 9 yards to get in touch with Tim because I want to see him get money because I know Tim got a hell of a story with Pump. So then I talked to Tim and I told him, yo, listen here, man, we should go in as a package deal. All three of us, we could tell a hell of a story about this whole documentary. You know what I'm saying? From front to start. Then whatever stuff that they get and everything like that. So let's go in there and ask them for 50 a piece. You know what I'm saying? So Tim was like with it, yo, Gene, whatever, go ahead like that. Kirk was like, yeah, okay, cool, Gene. It was like a general census that we was gonna do this in a whole package deal. You know what I'm saying? And then I started speaking to the producers and everything like that because 50 had told me himself that they was going to spare no cost in doing this because he wanted to tell the story and he wanted to tell the story like it was supposed to be told and everything like that. I said, yeah, okay. So then the director, I got to get her name, man, because it don't even sound, I want to put her on blast because she was telling me, she was saying to me that what I was asking for was crazy and they wasn't spending money like that. I'm talking about you got footage, you got clothing, you got I was doing footage, I had pictures, all the stuff that I had, you could figure out a way to pay a brother and stuff like that. And then I was telling her about some prices that I've already received and I had the invoices to show it. And then she was calling me like I was lying. I'm like, yo, who do you think you talking to? You know what I'm saying? And she was talking about, there's no way nobody paid. Nobody what? I say, first of all you people come with these documentaries and stuff, the first thing you tell me, y'all tell these people out here that y'all don't pay, and y'all pay. If you can make a picture look like $10,000-$15,000, you know what I'm saying? You can sit here and tell me that you're gonna pay me for my time sitting right down here with y'all. You understand? So then, one thing led to another, and I was like, yo, all right, well then, F you, I spoke to 50, and then she said 50, and this is exact words that came out her mouth. 50 does not determine what goes in and goes out of this documentary. And he definitely don't pay. He determine what somebody get paid. It's not his documentary like that. I was like, oh, so if it's not his documentary and I spoke to him like that, I don't need to be doing nothing with you because I'm doing this on the strength of him. But you gonna pay me if I do it. So it went back and forth, you know what I'm saying, for a little bit, and then they had Kirk Burrows giving me calls and everything like that.
Gene Deal has openly claimed that some parts of the Diddy story were either played down or completely left out, especially when it comes to Anthony Wolf Jones and his death. According to Deal, Jones was not just a security guy. He played a serious role in handling protection and movement during some of Bad Boy Records' most dangerous and tense years. Deal believes that made Jones an important person in understanding what was really going on behind the scenes. He questions why Jones is often missing from stories about that time, saying that ignoring him leaves major holes in the bigger picture. Deal also pushes back against the common idea that everything from that era was only about the East Coast and West Coast feud. In his view, that explanation is too simple for a situation that involves security fears, music industry pressure, and private decisions happening behind closed doors. He also says Jones was very careful when it came to safety and sometimes raised concerns about certain trips or public appearances. Whether those warnings were taken seriously is still open to interpretation, not proven fact. Overall, Deal's view points to a bigger problem. When major moments in culture are turned into simple stories, important people and key details can be forgotten, leaving the public with only part of the truth.
Anthony Wolf Jones had already told them, if you're not taking two tour buses of my niggas from the Valley, that's Co-op City in the Bronx, the Valley in the Bronx. If you're not taking these 2 tour buses of my niggas out there, I'm not going. Had told Puff them, had told Kirk Burrows. You understand? I went down there and Kirk Burrows called me up. He's like, yo, Gene, you and Wolf, I got y'all tickets to LA. I said, all right, cool. So I go down there and I pick up the tickets to LA. I got Wolf ticket. I got a Wolf ticket. So I'm calling Wolf up. I said, yo, Wolf, I got your ticket to go to LA. Wolf said, I ain't going. I said, what you mean you ain't going? He said, yo, Gene, I ain't gonna tell you how I'm making I ain't gonna tell you how to make your money, but I'm gonna let you know this. I told Puff them if they wasn't gonna take 2 tour buses of my niggas out there with us, I'm not going. Wolf is the head of all the functions that has to do with Puff dealing with security. I have my own contract with Puff, yeah. Paul Alford ran Green Gate Security, which is the daily operations of Puff stuff. That's his house, his cars, his transportation. He ran the office, the bad boy office, the clothing, all. He ran the daily operation with his security. Wolf is over whatever's happening with Puff. You understand? Wolf tells Puff them and tell Kirksboro them, no, if y'all not going out there right, nobody should go out there at all. Kirk calls me, I said, yo, Gene, you gonna go? I said, yeah, I'll go, bro. He said, Gene, I said, yo, dog, but we shouldn't be going out there. I tell Kirk the whole, yo, Gene, all y'all gonna be doing is going to the studio and y'all gonna go to Soul Train and go to the studio. Y'all not hanging out, y'all not doing nothing. All me and Puff did when we went there that month was hang out. And I told people all the time, and I said in the documentary before, I thought this kid had a death wish because all we did was hang out. We never saw Big at not one of the events that me and him went to. The House of Blues, movie theaters, not the California, the Celebrity Club, I guess. Is it Celebrity? No, the answer with a C. Never seen him in none of the clubs, none of the places. You understand? Big ain't coming to none of the places. The one time Big went out is when he got. The one club that he went out to is and that's where he got. So Wolf did not and was not going anywhere that had to do with California. And it wasn't because of the Jake situation. It was that he wanted to be safe, and the only way he felt safe if he was going out there with the dudes from his clique. And that was the Valley Mob. That's the only way. Wolf ended up losing his life behind Puff and his bullshit. And people they didn't even put that in the documentary. Wolf ended up losing his life behind Puff and his and that with BMF. That's a big segment in my book that I wrote a whole big situation in my book regarding that, Mighty. And I know you're doing this. I want to say that right there because I was there the night that Meech had promised Puff. You know what I'm saying? He ain't have to worry about Suge Knight. He ain't have to worry about nobody from this point on. And telling Puff some shit made him think that he could talk to Wolf any kind of way. Because if anybody knew BMF was powerful back then, they had dudes from everywhere. And Meech telling him he ain't have to worry about nobody no more, it made Puff think that he could tell Wolf that he didn't need.
Gene Deal has also spoken out about how some documentaries handled the events around the Biggie era. He believes certain parts were either made too simple or left out completely, and he has questioned whether some comments linked to Kirk Burroughs in interviews were fully accurate. Deal says Burroughs played an important role in Bad Boy Records' money and business operations, so he likely would have known more about major financial choices, including questions around how Biggie's funeral costs were handled. Deal also raised bigger concerns about how power and control may have changed after Biggie's death. From Deal's point of view, some people may have gained more control over things like publishing, marketing, and executive decisions connected to Biggie's legacy. He suggests that these changes may not have matched what Biggie would have wanted while he was alive. Still, these are Deal's personal views, not proven facts, and the documentary does not present them as confirmed truth. To him, the issue is not just what the film showed, but what he feels it failed to examine closely. His comments connect to a larger debate about how major moments in culture are remembered and retold. The bigger question is whether important relationships, money decisions, and industry power moves are fully examined, or whether key parts of the story are still being ignored when these events are brought back into the spotlight.
That ain't the first time I heard it though, bro. They said Big had paid for his funeral through his budget. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody would know that, Kirk Burrow would know that. And I heard Wayne Barrows came out and said some, but to refute that. You know what I'm saying? But if Miss Wallace got a check and the check, if she got Biggie's, if they had Biggie's budget and that was taken out, money was taken out that budget for his funeral, he did use it. And if anybody knew that, Kirk Burroughs would know that because he was handling the money and the operations at that time. Wayne Barrows was one of the dudes, him and Mark Pitts, that actually was managing Big's affairs. You understand? They was his manager. Big had told me that he was gonna get rid of them because they didn't know what they was doing before he died. You know, I had a conversation with Big. Big said, yo, I'm getting rid of them because they didn't want to F me up because they didn't want to convince him to sell his publishing and his marketing to Puff. They was Puff boys. I guess they met in school or whatever like that. But Big was gonna get rid of them. But because he died and his mother didn't know the business, she kept him around for years. If you look at anything that happened with the Notorious Biggs and his camp, you see Wayne Barrows on there as executive producer. And he was just a manager of some of Big affairs. He was executive producers of damn near everything that went on that had to do with. If Miss Wallace was the executive producer, he was the executive producer too. Look at some of the things that was done. And now he's suing, trying to get money from Faith because of, he's saying that she has to pay the Wallace estate and Miss Wallace is dead, Big is dead. If the estate is anything, it's CJ, Tatiana, and Faith. That's the estate. But he's saying there's some other kind of thing that he's suing them for. So Wayne Barrows is the dude that call it any way you want to, that's been Sherwood Forest and he got big them in Sherwood Forest. I'm gonna put it that way. He got his estate in Sherwood Forest.
Crazy, man. But yeah, Kirk Burrows, he spoke a lot in his documentary, man. He was letting everything go. He also said that, Diddy, he did take the Rolling Stone cover from Big after Big died.
Bruh, you have to look at his sociopath, his narcissism, and see that it shows you he really didn't care about Big like he did. What Kirk didn't tell the truth about that whole thing is that even when we was in California, Kirk tried to act like that he didn't know that Puff told him that Big wasn't going to London. I know what the question you asked, but I gotta get this out, bro. Is that on Thursday, me and Puff was in a limousine. Kirk Burrows was getting Puff the itinerary of what Big and what's his respecting told him that we was leaving Saturday, this, that, and the third, the whole 9 yards. On Thursday, Puff told Kirk Burrows, Big ain't going nowhere. He told him that Thursday, Big was not going nowhere. He said, I don't care what you do, you could go do whatever you want to do, but Big ain't going nowhere. Kirk Burrows was telling him how he had set up this whole and how Arista had paid off all this money for Big to be. Puff was adamant that Big wasn't going nowhere. Now, we were shooting the Hypnotized video. Me and Big was in the Winnebago, and Big was telling me his whole life story. What he wanted to do, his plans, all this shit. He even say, yo, Gene, I would take you with me, but you love that nigga too much. Nigga don't love nobody like that too much. What's up? He said, yo, what's up with the money? I said, nigga, you broke. You know what I'm saying? You owe Mike Gadget $30,000 for, I'm just going in on Big and we just talking.
With the release of Sean Combs' The Reckoning, a docuseries connected to 50 Cent and centered on the controversies around Diddy, conversations across hip-hop have grown even louder. What starts as a look at Diddy's career and legal troubles soon turns into a bigger discussion about old rivalries and major industry moments. As the topic spreads online, attention has also moved toward people tied to that era, including Jay-Z and names connected to the circle, such as those linked with Roc Nation. Most of the talk is coming from social media, where fans are breaking down old posts, past interviews, and online reactions, trying to guess whether major artists may finally respond. Even though there have been no confirmed statements, 50 Cent has handled the rumors in his usual style, using jokes and sarcasm online while making it clear that controversy often brings more attention. At the same time, Gone Deal has warned that many viral debates are built on pieces of old stories, with clips being shared again without the full background. He says key details are often left out, including who was actually there and what really happened behind closed doors. In his view, this new wave of speculation only shows part of the story, shaped just as much by internet talk as by the real events.
Yeah, Ja, how you feel about both of them going at it? You seen it?
I couldn't do nothing but see it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because 50, tried to smash him with one of the stories that we told on Art of Dialogue before. But what people don't realize is that the story that they put out there is like that there was no girls in the room. I told the story and I said that there was girls in the room. I just want to get that out there straight before I tell you how it all went about and what really happened. There was Sarah Chapman and her girlfriend. They flew with us from Atlanta. But let me just start the story like this. Check it out. Me and Puff went to this exotic bookstore, brother. You know what I'm saying? This is the first time I ever went to an exotic bookstore, you know, with Puff. I didn't know he even did that, but we was in Atlanta. So when we went to the door, they gave him a brown paper bag. So I guess this is a place that he was used to and people knew him there. So when they gave him a brown paper bag, Puff was just going around the store, just picking items off the shelves and stuff like that, putting them in a brown paper bag. So then, you know, I was behind him and, no Diddy, but I was about 3 feet behind him, you know what I'm saying, as he was putting stuff and putting it in his bag and stuff like that. So there's one particular place that he was put up there, he had to reach up kind of high and get it. So he just started pulling things out, and he was pulling a lot of them off there. So I was like, so I looked up and the thing said butt plugs. When he walking down the thing, said butt plugs. I said, hey yo, just to mess with him. I said, hey yo, what are you getting these for? And he said, can I do my shopping by myself? I said, yes, you can. And I waited up at the register for him, you know, because they had the big counter up there. So when he came to the counter, I said, yo, I'm finna see what this this mofo is putting in his bag. Cause I know he gonna have to take everything and put it on the counter so the dude could count it, right? My man, when he came there, he gave the dude a wad of hundreds like this. You know what I'm saying? He gave him a wad of hundred and just put it up there. The dude ain't even, you know what I'm saying? He ain't even want to know what was in the bag. I was like, yo, wow. So then we was catching a G4 jet. You know, we had to go to the airstrip because we was catching a G4 jet and we was going to North Carolina to do this show. So somehow he had Ja Rule to go with us, you know what I'm saying? And him and Ja was talking. And this whole time him and Ja is talking, he talking about Ja going at Jigga. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy. But he was talking about Ja getting at Jay-Z. And he was talking bad and talking crazy about Jay-Z and how Ja was talking about if it wasn't for him, that Jay wouldn't be the artist he was. He got him started. You know, he wrote certain things and stuff like that to put him out there. Cause, you know, back in the day, nobody was even effing with Jay like that. So, but Puff was he was adamant about Ja going at Jay. You understand? So, we get to the hotel, we're in the presidential suite and all this stuff like that. So, Ja and him is, you know, chilling and everything with Jay, eating and everything, shit like that. So then they all went to the room. It was like him, Ja, Sarah, and her girlfriend. They went to the room. I don't know what they were doing in there. I didn't give a f. But Puff told me, Gene, do not let nobody come in this room. Don't let nobody come in this room. So, hour or so went by, whatever like that. Time went by. The doorbell rang. And it was this dude at the door saying that he was Ja's cousin. And I was like, he said, I'm here for Ja Rule. I said, who you? He said, I'm his cousin and everything like that. I said, but, yo, he busy right now. I'm telling the dude that he's busy. You know, the dude is talking about, yo, but I want to talk to him. I said, yo, bro, they don't want to be bothered. You know, I'm trying to, you know, tell this kid, yo, they don't want to be bothered, bro. You know what I'm saying? He said, yo, but that's my cousin. You know what I'm saying? I said, well, listen here, bro. They're in a room. They don't want to be bothered. You know, you could see that there's only one.
Gene Deal has talked about a tense backstage moment that he says started after someone knocked on a door. The situation involved people connected to Diddy and the wider circle around Jay-Z. According to Deal, the exchange was short, but serious. He says it was not really about making a scene in public. It was more about drawing a line after he believed certain boundaries had been crossed. He has also suggested that the moment may not have happened by chance. In different interviews, Deal said tensions in those circles were often influenced by things happening behind the scenes, where rivalries, money, business moves, and personal loyalty could clash fast. From Deal's point of view, situations like that could turn serious very quickly when people were put in awkward positions, or when old problems were already building up. But these claims are based on his own memory, not confirmed records, and other people from that time have told different versions. That is one reason stories from this era of hip-hop still create debate today. With so many sides to the story and so many missing details, it is hard to separate memory, personal opinion, and proven facts. Even after all these years, moments like this remain open to interpretation.
Yeah, bro. Jesus Christ had to come down here and take the breath out of my body before you go in that room. You understand? Next thing you know, I grabbed him and we started. It wasn't no wrestling thing like that because he couldn't handle it at the time. He could front and tell his friends because he didn't hit me up on Instagram. He could tell his friends all he want to. But that, if Puff and Jai tell you the story, that nigga was upside the piano. You understand? So now, Jai and Puff run out. They butt the neck and they was grabbing towels. You understand? They was grabbing towels. And then Puff was like, yo, Gene, what's going on? Jai was like, yo, he said, that's my cousin. I was like, yo, bruh. He tried to get in the room and I wasn't letting him get in the room, bruh. And then Puff looked at Jai like this, you know, what that looked like, he said. And then Jai said, you don't want to be up in that room because there was a whole lot of freaking going on. So I started laughing, dude left, they went back in the room and that was it. You know what I'm saying? So now the story grew as if Jai was in there and him and Diddy was doing, you know, something. And like I said that they was doing something. I don't know what the F they were doing, bruh. The only reason I know was some freaky things going up in there that Jai really didn't even understand because he said, yo, you ain't want to be up in there because there's a whole lot of freaky on. So I was like, I wouldn't have known nothing. I wouldn't even care. And I don't care today. But you know how the internet is. They cut and paste what they want to paste and they put what they want to put to make it seem like I was saying this dude and Puff was in there, you know, alone. And they wasn't. You understand? And that was them. You know, they did their thing, you know, up in there with the honeys in there. I guess. I can only guess. So, listen, bro. I've said this 1,000 times. It was Sarah Chapman and her girlfriend. Now, Sarah Chapman, you know, if people don't know who she is, now she's one of Puff baby mamas. But prior to her being one of Puff baby mama, this is the same girl that was dating Puff best friend, Corey Jacobs, and she was dating Tupac. You understand? So now she, like I told you before, she was the one that Puff betted in the office. He said, yo, I bet you I could get her from Gary Payton. You understand? And I didn't know she dated Gary Payton, but this is what Puff is saying. And it was a $500 bet that he said he'd get it in 2 weeks. We was out in Chicago, me, him, and Sarah. We was at some kind of function that Puff had to do a in-store and like a walkthrough. You know what I'm saying? At one of his friends' parties. So, you know, she was out there with her. Next thing you know, he got her like he said he would. You know what I'm saying? That incident with him and Jai, I feel bad, you know, kind of, sort of, really, because everybody's trying to make it seem like, you know, Jai was some kind of weirdo, you know, but it is what it is, bro. I just told you what I seen. Both of them ran out the room, butt ass, grabbing towels, you know what I'm saying, with them chicks in there, you know what I'm saying? So whatever they did, that's on them. But that's the kind of games Puff play in order to get people to do what he want them to do. You understand? He got them, he wanted Ja to go at Jay-Z, so he got these chicks to go at Ja. You understand what I'm saying? Whether he did it or fell into it, I don't know. Because I don't know him and Jay-Z beef or why they was beefing in the first place or whatever the situation was. People who are close to either one of them may know more than I do on that. But I knew Puff was working to get Ja to...
So, what do you think? Was Gene Deal really trying to clear things up? Or are there still parts of the Diddy story that the documentary's left out? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because we want to know how you see it. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Until next time, stay tuned, because in hip hop, the story is never really over.